into the election against Senator McCain and the Republicans, we want there to be a clear contrast on health care. Because otherwise we won't be able to convince people that we have the better idea. Health care is the most critical personal issue. The next, the economy and the war in Iraq, it's what people talk to me about all the time. So if you believe, as I do, that we have to stand for and fight for universal health care, I hope you will go and caucus for me tomorrow. That education should start in the preschool years with more help for families so they can do a better job taking care of their own children, and a universal pre-kindergarten program so that disadvantaged 4-year-olds can actually be prepared to do well in school. And you know, if we do that, we will improve education outcomes. And if you believe, as I do, that we must end the unfunded mandate known as No Child Left, educators, who actually listens to the people who are on the front line in our classroom, working with our kids, helping them succeed. I don't want to see our children turned into little test takers and our teachers into big test givers. I don't think that's right. And then let's make college affordable again. It is not affordable. That go year-round to help people who need extra financial assistance. Everywhere I go, I ask students how much of a rate of interest they're paying on their student loans, because the average student debt for a student graduating in Maine is $23,000. And there are a lot who are paying so much more. If you go into graduate school or medical school, it becomes astronomical. Well, today at the university in Orono, I said, well, what's the highest rate of interest? And a young lady called out 29.7%. That topped it. The latest I'd had before that was 27% in Minnesota. So 29.7%, that is predatory lending. That is the exclusive when I was going to school. I had to borrow money to go to school. I borrowed it directly from the federal government at about 2% interest. Some of you might remember National Defense Education Act loans. Remember? Our country said, we're going to make an investment in you because we know that you'll make an investment in us. You'll get your education, you'll be productive, you'll pay your taxes. That made sense. So I borrowed the money, and then when I got out of school, I could go to work for the Children's Defense Fund and pay it back over time as a contingent percentage of my income. Well, I want that available for students today. And I want to offer 2 years of national service, making up to $10,000 a year that you can put toward your education if that is what you choose. With all this debt, if you're willing to do public service like teaching or nursing or law enforcement, we will forgive your debt over time. I want to help match savings for people who are working hard and finding it difficult to save. And I particularly want to help families do the most important job any of us do in our lives, and that is take care of each other. We need to expand the Family Medical Leave Act. We need to provide more support for family caregivers. There are so many people taking care of parents, spouses, children, other loved ones. And what we know is that if the people who were taking care of their family members for love and devotion stopped tomorrow, the country would have to replace those services with services valued at $300 billion a year. So let's help families do what they choose to do, but find so financially and physically and emotionally stressful. That's why I want to have a caregiver tax credit, because a lot of people give up their jobs, they go to part-time work, they are really up against it, trying to take care of their maybe people ask me all the time, well, what difference do you think it would make if a woman's in the White House? I said, well, maybe in part it's a different life experience. We've never had a daughter or a mom or a wife or a sister in the White House before. So much of the work that goes on in our country is done by women, taking care of their loved ones, taking care of people who would otherwise not be given a lot of attention. So let's start taking care of each other again. And let's make it possible for families to both be devoted to their work outside the home and their work inside the home. There's so much we can do if we listen to each other. And we also have to begin repairing our relations around the world and restoring our leadership and our moral authority. Many of you, I'm sure, over the last 7 years have traveled to other countries, and you have felt the impact of the attitudes toward the president and toward the arrogance and the unilateral behavior that has alienated our friends and, frankly, emboldened our enemies. And part of what we have to do now is repair those relationships. And it's very important for the next president to be able to do that with credibility, because we don't have a minute to waste. I have said that I will, even before being inaugurated, I'll start asking distinguished Americans of both parties. Because you see, I think we do need to get back, as the governor said, to an American foreign policy, not a Republican or a Democratic or partisan foreign policy. I've been to more than 82 countries. I know a lot of the leaders. I know a lot of the influential people in those countries. I want them to hear as soon as possible that we're going to start trying to find common ground. Because the problems we face, whether it's global terrorism or global warming or global epidemics, are not ones we can handle all on our own. You cannot be a leader if no one is following. Right now, I have said I will begin to do that carefully and responsibly. I've asked many times for the Pentagon to give us information about the plans that they have undertaken, but they're not planning, at least not to the level they need to, because this president doesn't intend to leave Iraq. He intends to leave it to his successor. So as soon as I get there, I will ask the Secretary of Defense, working on plans. And you know, this is going to be hard. You know, in Orno today, somebody asked me, well, what do you think will happen? And I said, honestly, nobody can tell you exactly what will happen. But what I know is that our American troops have performed magnificently. They have done everything they were asked to do. We have lost nearly 4,000. We have 30,000 injured. They have paid, in some cases, the ultimate price, and others, the injuries will be with them for a lifetime, undermining their quality of life and their future prospects. So we owe each and every one of our sons and daughters a great debt of gratitude. But the fact is, there is no military solution. The Iraqis have to decide whether they want a stable government and a let's take care of them. our young veterans are coming home without the health care and the I have pledged, as Commander-in-Chief, to understand that we have the greatest military in the history of the world, but force should be used as a last resort, not a first resort.